Everyone talks about how you should just know that your manifestation is coming and that's what's going to make it come. Pause. But nobody talks about how to actually know it. Or they talk about it in very vague terms, like just persist. Persist in what? Persist in robotic affirmations that drain your energy, waste your time, and make you feel obsessed with checking the 3D to see if it worked, and make you develop an unhealthy attachment with getting the thing that you're affirming you have. Because the only reason you're affirming is because deep down, you believe that you don't have it. And therefore, your only metric for success with affirmations is just getting the thing that you're affirming for. And then there are people who tell you to stop thinking about it at all. Don't affirm for what you want. Don't think about it. In fact, you should just stop wanting it altogether. Just detach from ever getting it. And somehow, not thinking about your problem is supposed to magically solve all your problems. And everything you've ever wanted will just fall into your lap without you having to do anything, change anything, or ever even think about it. Because thinking about what you want somehow makes you a manifestational failure. Why are you listening to these coaches? They're not real coaches. Why are you listening to random teenagers on social media who have little to no experience manifesting, nor years of client success track records supporting what they're saying? Why are you listening to random people tell you free little tips that obviously do nothing to help you work on yourself, your relationship, or your problems? Their advice is to do little magic spells, or write your ex's name, or buy a special crystal, or sit under the moonlight, or write 55 times a day in your little journal. Please tell me how that's going to fix your relationship. It's really important to use critical thinking skills and to start listening to coaches who, number one, base their teachings on science and psychology, not a hope and a dream. So if you're having trouble finding reliable sources of information, click this video at the top corner or in the description below to learn how to find a coach who can actually help you get what you want instead of just wasting your time and energy. But back to the point, how can you actually know that you're going to get what you want without having any proof in the 3D? Without magic, without robotic affirmations, and without having to detach from what you want in order to get it. If none of those things work, and they don't, then what actually will? How do you know your manifestation into existence? You know it by becoming the version of you who is getting what you want. You don't even have to be some delusional version of you who thinks that you already have it. And to be honest, being delusional does work, but the problem is that most people are trying to pretend to be delusional in order to manifest the thing that they want, which is a massive difference from actually being delusional. If you're trying to play pretend and what you're doing feels fake, you're not being delusional, because delusion means you actually believe it. So who you're actually being is someone who is fake and who doesn't believe that they have what they want and is trying really hard to get it. And trying to fake your belief in order to get it is only going to push that thing farther away. You have to actually become the version of you who knows that they're getting what they want. So how do you do that? Let me give you an example. I have lost 80 pounds this year. 80. And right now, the scale is at a plateau. In fact, for the past week, it's shown that I've actually gained weight, even though I'm doing everything right. I'm in a caloric deficit, I'm exercising daily, I'm tracking everything. Yet the scale shows that it's not working. But I do see a difference when I look in the mirror. But even still, I want the scale to move. I just want it. I just want that little hoe to go down. Pause. Now, I could look at the evidence and the signs and say that it's just not working. I'm doing everything right and I'm not getting what I want. But here's the thing. When you are actually being the version of you who is getting what you want, there's no such thing as it's not working. And the simple act of following an effective strategy is what makes you believe that it's working. And once you believe that it's working, it will work, even if there are days or weeks where it seems outwardly like it's not working. You train your brain to filter out any evidence that doesn't align with your belief that it's working and filter in evidence of your success. It's called your reticular activating system, or RAS, but I'll get more into that in a future video. Basically, your brain can only focus on a tiny percentage of the information around you. And part of your job as a conscious manifester is to train your RAS to filter in information that supports your desired outcome and filter out any information that doesn't. That is part of being the version of you who knows that they're getting what they want. And because I'm following an effective strategy that I know will lead to my desired outcome, my brain has been trained to focus on the results I see in the mirror, not the lack of results on the scale. And again, I've been on this weight loss journey for about a year. So there have even been times when both the scale went up and I also looked worse in the mirror. My point being, there will be times along your journey where all outward evidence points to you not getting what you want. And in those cases, you stop looking at 3D evidence and start looking internally and at your day-to-day systems. So even during those times when I looked worse in the mirror and the scale was going up, I can still look inward and see that I have more energy. My brain fog is clear. My gut health feels better. And even more significantly, I can point to my daily systems that I follow consistently and know that I am following the correct steps in order to achieve my desired outcome. And to be fair, that's relatively easy with weight loss. It usually is as simple as calories in versus calories out, eating mostly whole foods and tracking your day-to-day consumption versus expenditure. It's literally just math. But when it comes to manifestation, it's not so cut and dry. As I mentioned earlier, there is so much misinformation from wannabe coaches and teens with no experience giving advice to millions of people on social media. And that stuff goes viral for the same reason any get-rich-quick scheme goes viral, because it promises big results with minimal effort. But if we use just a little bit of logic, all of that advice crumbles instantly. And that's why you're in luck for finding my page, because I only teach based on science and psychology. With 5 years of coaching experience so far, working with over 1,000 clients in every kind of situation, backed by a decade of critical research. So listen very carefully, because this one thing I'm about to share with you is going to change your approach to manifesting forever. Don't try to know it into being. Instead, be it into knowing. Now, let me give you an example of what I mean, because I know most of you are probably here because you want to manifest your specific person. The version of you who is going to be in a healthy, long-term, romantic relationship with your specific person, the one who currently does not want to be with you, that version of you is not lying in your bed crying about them all day. That version of you is not obsessing about how you're going to get them back or how to make them obsess over you. The version of you who is going to be in a relationship with them is not robotically affirming that you're going to be in a relationship with them. And if you're in the trap of robotically affirming, they're obsessed with me, they're obsessed with me, they're obsessed with me, that is literally the easiest thing for you to stop doing this very minute. Let me tell you, I did manifest my ex back, and we've been happily married for 3 years now. So I can tell you with certainty, I am not thinking to myself, my husband's obsessed with me, my husband's obsessed with me all day like a robot. I'm simply living my life knowing that I am in a happy, healthy relationship. I'm not trying to think his love into existence. The version of you who is getting a relationship with your specific person is out there living your life. And yes, you are thinking about your SP. You don't have to stop thinking about the person you love. And that's ridiculous. There are very few situations where you need to stop thinking about your person. And I do go over those circumstances and their timing in my courses. But most of the time, you don't need to stop thinking about them. You just need to think about them differently. The version of you who is getting them back isn't trying to think about them or to not think about them. You just automatically daydream about the person you love, like a normal human being. You're thinking about the fun things you want to do together. You're thinking about fun memories that you've shared in the past. You're thinking about why you like them, about long-term future plans, about how cute they are. And it's not a big deal. It's just normal thoughts that people have about the person they love. Thoughts like these just come into your mind naturally, effortlessly, when you're not trying to force or fake them. It doesn't take up your time or energy. You're not trying to figure out how to think about them the right way. It just happens. And any trying that you're doing when it comes to manifesting isn't you trying to get what you want. It's you trying to become the version of you who simply is getting it. It's learning how to create healthy habits, both internally and externally, that lead to these natural, effortless thought patterns and create a belief system that supports your desired outcome. When you plug in a healthy system of habits, aka an effective day-to-day strategy, your beliefs, thoughts, feelings, words, and actions are naturally going to align with the version of you who is getting what you want. So, plain and simple, be it into knowing means that you follow healthy, effective habits that align with the version of you who's getting your manifestation. Your beliefs, thoughts, and feelings will naturally shift as well. And you will genuinely believe that you are getting your manifestation without having to try or fake it. So if that's something that you're having trouble doing, the exact step-by-step process is laid out for you in the reunion course, the 30 days to manifest course, and the manifest anything course. This process is proven to work for almost 5 years now with over 1,000 clients because it's based on science and psychology. and over a decade of research. These programs offer simple, realistic steps that you can use to start effortlessly becoming the version of you who is getting the relationship, the money, the well-being that you want. Even when it seems impossible, this process has worked for clients who were blocked by their specific person on every platform, even their Finsta. Even when their SP moved to a different continent and changed their number, or they started dating someone else, were married to someone else, and hadn't talked to them in years. My clients are still able to get their SPs back with a median time of only 30 days. Or in situations where my clients wanted to manifest more money, but had no job and had been broke their whole lives. They were still able to manifest their dream jobs, promotions, and even $20,000 jackpots out of thin air. When I work with clients who are extremely depressed and anxious and have never felt happy a day in their lives, they've still been able to improve their well-being, usually within a few hours or days of starting to work with me. In fact, I have never once had someone complete one of my programs and not feel better. Not even once. So it really doesn't matter what your circumstances are, as long as you have an effective strategy to become the version of you who is getting your manifestation. That is what will happen. It's just science. Be it into knowing, and it is guaranteed to happen. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button because I'm sharing so much valuable manifestation content on this channel. Leave a comment with any questions and a suggestion for my next video. And don't forget to check out manifest-best.com for courses, coaching, and meditations to take your manifestations to the next level. I'll see you in the next video, and happy manifesting!